Hello and welcome to the Student Organization Conduct module from the Office of Student Conduct and Care at Drexel University. The goal of this training is to provide student organization leaders and members with a highlight of the conduct process for student organizations, the code of conduct, and how to report alleged violations of misconduct to our office. Drexel University's Code of Conduct is a comprehensive list of policies concerning student conduct. Drexel students and student organizations have the responsibility to be aware of and abide by all university policies. The Code of Conduct reflects the university's commitment to high standards of behavior, which ensures health, safety, and engagement of our academic community. The Code of Conduct is periodically reviewed and revised, and you are strongly encouraged to review the updated Code of Conduct for policy or process changes and amendments. This outlines the Code of Conduct process for student organizations. First, a report of alleged misconduct is sent to student conduct. The office conducts a preliminary review of the report, and the student organization is noticed of conference via email. The student organization then goes to a pre-hearing conference, during which one of two things can happen. First, the student organization can accept responsibility, which transitions the meeting into a collaborative resolution, where sanctions are imposed and the organization has the right to appeal based on unduly harsh sanctions. If the organization denies responsibility and there is not enough information to move forward to a hearing, then the organization will not be responsible and the allegations will be withdrawn. If the organization denies responsibility and there's enough information to move forward to a hearing, then the organization will be referred to a university hearing with a board made up of students, faculty, and professional staff who are trained to conduct such hearings. If the board finds the organization not responsible, the allegations will be withdrawn. If the board does find the organization responsible, they will recommend sanctions. Sanctions will be imposed, and again, the organization has the right to appeal, this time based on unduly harsh sanctions, improper procedure, insufficient information, or new information. There are a few policies we want to highlight. The first is the alcohol policy. While everyone in an organization should be familiar with the university's alcohol policy, organizations should pay close attention to certain aspects of the policy. Note that the link to the full code of conduct can be found at the bottom of this slide. Please review the full code of conduct for more details. If your organization plans a social gathering and any of the following examples of violations occur, then the student organization can be held responsible for the violation in addition to the individual students involved. Such violations include giving alcohol to underage persons or providing a space for the consumption of alcohol by underage persons, and directing, requiring, or encouraging underage persons to be in a space where alcohol is easily accessible. Possession or use of bulk containers and or objects that would promote binge drinking. A host of social events involving alcohol should also review the social host policy. The next policy we will be touching on is hazing. There will be an additional module diving deeper into hazing, but we will cover it briefly here. Hazing begins with an unequal power dynamic between individuals or groups in the organization. For example, when leadership of the organization requires certain groups of people in an organization, such as new members, to do something that is not required of other members. This act can be considered hazing. That power dynamic escalates from small actions and requirements to much more harmful physical and emotional or mental harm. The Timothy J. Piazza anti-hazing law defines hazing to include hazing, aggravated hazing, and organizational hazing. It is important to note that it will not be considered a defense that the consent of a student was sought or obtained. It is also not a defense that the conduct was sanctioned or approved by the organization. Another important policy to note is the Responsible Dragon Amnesty Policy. Drexel University's primary concern is student safety and wellness. The university is aware that students are sometimes reluctant to seek medical attention in alcohol and drug-related emergencies out of fear that they may face sanctions related to possessing or consuming alcohol or other drugs. Because these emergencies are potentially life-threatening, the university seeks to create a culture of trust and care paired with safety and responsibility while reducing any barriers that would prevent students from seeking assistance. The RDAP policy provides amnesty from disciplinary action for students or student organizations who seek medical assistance during an alcohol or drug-related emergency. More information can be found using the link at the bottom of this slide to access the section of the conduct site that reviews the amnesty policy in full. In order for RDAP to apply to student organizations, and hosts of social events must seek immediate medical assistance for a student who is experiencing an alcohol or drug-related emergency. The responding student organization or social host will not be considered in violation of the alcohol or drug policy. Representatives of the organization or the social host must remain with the student experiencing the medical emergency until assistance arrives, barring any immediate threats to personal safety. Party logs are reports that are received from community members and responded to by Drexel Police. These reports are related to noise and social gatherings that are disruptive to the local community. Drexel University expects that Drexel students and student organizations are good neighbors to those who live in the community alongside us. It is important to note that organizations can be held responsible for behavior that takes place in non-organization affiliated housing and off campus if organization members are involved. And that will take us to our last notable policy, disorderly conduct. Disorderly conduct is described as behavior that disrupts the peace, academic study, or sleep of others both on and off campus. A few examples for student organizations to be aware of are excessive noise and throwing, dropping, or projecting any object or substance that has the potential for causing damage to property, injury, or disruption. There are a few ways to report allegations of misconduct or other concerns to our office. The first is completing an online report. Next, you can email studentconduct@drexel.edu. And lastly, you can call the Student Conduct Office at 215-895-6074. Please note that any of these options, you can elect to provide as much detail as possible or request a meeting with one of our team members. All reports received are private but not confidential. If you have any questions about the presentation or anything related to the Code of Conduct or the student conduct process, please reach out to us using the contact information provided on this slide. Thank you.